What's up, BooTube? I dropped like my recording device like twice now. It's hilarious. Every time I do this, it's like I'm like no. But anyway, this is my very late reaction rant to Arrow season 6, episode 6, titled "Promises Kept." I know that today is the mid-season finale of Arrow, and I'm sorry. This is literally episode 6. Episode 7 has already premiered, and then episode 8 of Arrow was the second episode of the 4-part crossover, with Supergirl being the first, Arrow being second, Flash being third, and Legends being fourth, which I thought was pretty damn funny considering week-wise, Arrow's the one that premieres last, because, you know, Monday is Supergirl, Tuesday's Flash, and then Legends, and then Thursday is Arrow. But then for the 4-part crossover, they moved Arrow ahead of Flash and Legends, which I thought was pretty damn funny. But yeah, that was episode 8, and episode 9 is tonight, which is the mid-season finale. Supergirl, Flash, and Legends all had their episode 9s already, respectively on Monday and Tuesday, which is their mid-season finales. And, you know, I know that, it's the mid-season finale, episode 9, and I'm literally doing 6. That's not my fault. I have explained in previous videos that, I've been busy with work. Of course, I didn't work on Thanksgiving. For my work, our day offs are Thanksgiving, Christmas, and Easter, because the top people at my work, they're religious. So they're like, Easter's a religious thing, don't go to work. So that's 3 days off only. And despite the fact that I was off Thanksgiving, I had to go to work Black Friday, which was like, my shift started at 4:30 in the morning. I didn't get home from our Thanksgiving family party till 10. I was in an accident. No, wait. The party ended at 10. We didn't get home till 12 because I was in a car accident shortly afterwards. And then I had my work shift starts at 4:30, and I got here at work at 4. So I didn't even get any sleep, quite honestly. Like, I got home at midnight, and I was so, like, wired from Thanksgiving and the accident and the fact that I had to wake up before 4 because my shift was 4:30. I didn't sleep. And my Black Friday shift was 11 hours. So I didn't sleep at all. I had an 11-hour shift. Technically, I was supposed to be there 11 hours, but I was there for 12 hours because of my last customer. So I was there for 12 hours on Friday with no sleep. And then Saturday, Sunday, and Cyber Monday, I was working 11-hour shifts. So I'm effing exhausted, and since it's still the holiday season, there's still a shitload of people, customers, callers, and all that, so no time at all, so you can't possibly blame me. But I spent like 3 minutes of my video ranting. But anyway, this is Promises Kept. From what I remember, Oliver and Slade from episode 5, they ran into his son Joe. And if you guys did not watch my previous video or have not read the comics, Joe Wilson, aka Joseph Wilson in the comics, is, of course, in the comics, Deathstroke's son. And in the comics, Joseph Wilson actually had a code name, which was Jericho. If you don't know who Jericho is, I'm not going to really do a rundown right now. You guys should already know who Jericho is, because he's made a good amount of appearances in the animated world of DC. Especially with Teen Titans. The original animated Teen Titans cartoon, watch it, Jericho is there. Just saying. But anyway, although they don't make a reference in the original animated Teen Titans that Jericho is actually related to Slade in the original Teen Titans, which I think is funny, but he does make an appearance there as Jericho. But anyway, they do meet up with Joe, and he's like the leader of this ragtag group of bad guys. Basically, they're like B-lister, not really B-lister. They're like D-lister villains. Honestly, they're like those punk guys that have guns and like they most likely like go to innocent people's houses, shoot them up, and take their shit, something like that. They look like that. But anyway, They thought that, you know, Joe was held hostage, but no, he's actually the leader of this ragtag group. And in this episode, both Slade and Oliver are trying to convince Joe to come back with them, you know, saying, you know, just come back. Everything's good. You don't have to be here, right? But of course, Joe refuses to leave only because he explains that you know, at one point in his life, probably in his younger days of his life, he witnessed Slade murder somebody, right? And that completely changed Joe's outlook on his own father. And Slade, when he hears that, you know, he's trying to explain to Joe, like, hey, yeah, I murdered that guy, but that was a paid hit. Because, you know, he's kind of like an assassin. He's like muscle for hire, not really muscle for hire, but he's paid to kill people. He's an assassin, right? It was a paid hit. But even that didn't really convince Joe, because he's like, you know, seeing you kill that person completely changed the way I see you. And this is all before Slade had the whole mirror crew thing happening. Because remember, when he had the mirror crew injected in him, he was batshit crazy, right? He was seeing shadow ghost everywhere. You remember Shadow, the lady he fell in love with, but no, she had a thing for Oliver, and they had a thing, you know. Yeah, that love triangle, the Leon Yu love triangle. Anyway, he's killing people, injecting people with mirror crew, building an army and all that shit. Apparently this whole Joe witnessing Slade killing someone, this happened way before the mirror crew. So I'm only assuming that the incident that Joe witnessed, the one where he saw his dad kill somebody, that was in Slade's defense a paid hit. This obviously must have happened way before Slade was even on Lian Yu. Because remember, when Slade was on Lian Yu, he met Oliver, Shadow. The whole mirror crew bullshit happened on Lian Yu, so obviously this is before the mirror crew, which means this is before Lian Yu. So, yeah, according to Joe, he's like, it doesn't matter, no matter how many times you explain it, I saw you murder somebody, it changed my outlook, it changed my view of you, and it pretty much shaped me down into the world I am in now. So, which I'm not kind of surprised, honestly, like, look at, like, real life. Some people who have, like, crappy family lives, you know, they have, like, bad families in general, like, bad parents, or just bad family life in general. Some of them just, I don't want to say all of them or majority, but a good chunk of them end up going down very bad paths. Like an example, even on television, you see, like, people who come from bad families, like, I don't know, like, a parent left them, and they don't, like, for example, I've seen on TV they have these storylines where you have this kid who has a bad family home, like, the one parent left, neglected the kid and the other parent, while the other one turns to drugs or alcohol or something. And then you get this kid who has, like, at least a 60% chance they're gonna turn bad, and in shows and sometimes in, like, legit real life it actually happens. They go through a bad phase, they go into gangs, or they get into drugs and alcohol themselves and all that stuff. And it's pretty much what happened with Joe, you know? We have heard nothing about the mother of Slade's kid, right? We don't know the mother of Joe. We don't know if she died, or she straight up left them, or she's, like, bad egg herself. We just know of Slade, right? And Slade is a paid assassin. When you witness your parent murdering someone, I'm pretty damn sure that's gonna fuck you up somehow, right? So, I guess it really, like, screwed him up to the point where he becomes somewhat of a bad guy, you know? Because in his mind, his dad's a bad guy when he saw him murder somebody. Why not go down the same path? You know what I mean? Similar path. But anyway, this leads to pretty much Joe and Slade having a fight. They're, like, fighting each other, everything, and Oliver intervenes, trying to stop them. And this gave Joe a chance to escape, right? So Joe ends up escaping, and in a way, Slade and Oliver have somewhat of a heart-to-heart where, you know, Slade's like, you know, before he leaves, though, before Joe escapes, he mentions a name. He mentions his brother, which I'm assuming is Slade's other son, Grant. So if you guys have never read the comics, you wouldn't know this, but in the comics, Slade does have an eldest child by the name of Grant Wilson, apparently. I'm not sure if Grant is the eldest child, but I know that he's older than Joe. In the comics, I know for a fact Slade has at least 3 kids. Grant Wilson, Joseph Wilson, and Rose Wilson, right? We just saw Joe here, and we just got a name drop of Grant. And if you've never read the comics, Grant Wilson of Yes, I'm not sure if he's the older one of Joe or Rose in the comics, but he is one of Slade's kids, and he's the first person to take up the comic book name, the Ravenger. So if you've read comics, you will remember that Slade's daughter in the comics is the one that's well known for the name Ravenger. But if you did not know, in the comic books, Slade's daughter Rose Wilson was actually the 5th person to take the name Ravenger. The very first one being Slade's son Grant Wilson. I don't know much about Grant besides the fact, you know, he's Slade Wilson's son, and that he was pretty much the first one to have the name Ravenger. So please don't get mad at me for this. But anyway, name drop, right? But anyway, Slade's like, hey, I'm gonna go see if I can track down not only Joe, but my other son Grant. You go back to your son, because I don't want you to make the same mistake I did. Look what happened. Both of my sons, Joe hates me, doesn't want to come back, and now my son Grant I heard of, I don't know where he is and shit. Do not make my same mistake. Go back to your son, right? Which I thought was a cute little heart-to-heart moment between 2 fathers, which I really love. I like the fact that we're getting some heart-to-heart again with Oliver and Slade, especially since they technically had that before the Mirakuru bullshit happened. So it's good to see that dynamic again, where like they're kind of like best buds again, and they have like a heart-to-heart moment because they're both fathers, which I think is cute. But anyway, besides all that, we also get a Team Arrow heart-to-heart with Diggle, because Team Arrow finds out that Diggle's been having tremors because of the Lian Yu explosion. And Curtis offers to help. Oh my god, I'm running out of time.